What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. This is your host Maverick here with another episode of BEASTARS. So, in this episode, we're going to get part 2 of Legosi's Grand Rescue Mission, aka how a high school boy beat up some gangsters, right? I've already went at length in the last episode as to how ridiculous this whole situation is. Like, I don't care how good of a fighter Gohan was originally. At the end of the day, it's still a young boy who's not even an adult yet with an old man beating up a bunch of mafia members, right? Like, I mentioned gangsters there, but really that's sort of downplaying the Shishigami group. In the context of, this in-universe, this world, they are literally mafia, right? So, highly unrealistic. But with that being said, I did read a lot of you guys' comments in regards to this situation, and apparently a lot of people also agree that, these shonen sequences aren't exactly the mangaka's strong point, so they tend to get, a little bit off the rails a little bit, right? With that being said, however, one thing I did find interesting was that in the original portrayal within the manga, actually Gohan went in guns blazing with heavy firepower, with automatic weapons and whatnot. And in that kind of situation, I can actually believe this a lot more, right? It's a lot more realistic in that kind of way, like taking them by surprise. Maybe they don't have the weaponry on hand or whatnot. That would make it much more even, in my opinion. And there's a lesson to be had there as well. I'm not sure if that was originally the mangaka's intention, but there are works which deal with how technology evens the playing field, right? So it overcomes any kind of biological advantage that these characters have. Like, lions are literally like many times stronger than wolves or pandas. I mean, pandas literally don't have fighting power, actually. And like, I don't care how badass wolves are. Like I said last episode, a lion and a wolf in heads up 1-1, the lion would basically straight up kill the wolf, like literally 99.9 times out of 100, like, and the 0.1 being if by chance, I don't know, like by some freak accident, the wolf manages to get in a hit first in, I don't know, the lion's eye or something, right? And like I said, there are series that deal with this, such as literally in this season we had Dr. Stone, right? Which the entire premise of it is how using technology overcomes any biological prowess you have, and overcomes any. It evens the playing field, right? So it makes everybody equal. But anyways, that's going a little bit off topic. In any case, at the very least, we are seeing a huge improvement in the terms of the relationship between Legosi and Haru. It's hard not to. Legoshi's literally the knight in shining armor in this case, as clumsy or awkward as he may be. It's hard for Haru not to start developing feelings for him, right? Especially in lieu of all that's happened before. So, poor Louis, I guess. In any case, let's see how Legoshi is going to actually resolve the situation with the big boss, right in the episode. Alright, I skipped the opening. Let's begin in 3, 2, 1, play. Oh. He ditched class, so it was like all night, an all-nighter or something. Who? And the rain is literally going to clear right as they start the festival, right? Oh, very. Oh. Oh, holy shit. Like, honestly, his arm should already be broken by now. And his hand as well. His hand should be completely bit off. Dude, aim for his eyes! Come on. I can't believe his arm hasn't broken and his hand hasn't been bit off yet. Run, Legoshi! Take her and run! Well, actually, are wolves faster than lions? That's a good question. I don't really know. What? Please don't tell me that Legoshi is actually going to win in a direct one-on-one fight. Seriously? She literally won like that? Like I said, these have to be the worst lions I've ever seen. As well as the worst mafia group I've ever seen. This is the group that has the whole city trembling with fear. Like I said, worst group ever. Owen? Oh, Louis. You came. And they literally didn't hear a gunshot. What? Holy shit, Louis. And how are you gonna get out of this situation? What the f- What? Why don't you go to hospital, dude? Like, just say you were jumped by gangsters or something, right? It's technically the truth. Just hungry. Look, ah, she's falling for him. She's falling for him. Are they gonna get like a hotel room or something? He's blushing. Wait. uh, gosh. Technically the truth, you know. Porn magazine? Oh, okay. At least it wasn't the porn magazine, right? Again, technically the truth. Ta-da. I love motel. Yeah, it's a love motel. Oh, those two are like smooching, making out every day. I mean, Arrow's definitely down for it. Even without this, right? You know, you're not making things any easier, Haru, for Legoshi. I mean, considering the first time you got, or the second time you guys met, you already saw her naked. It's not that far of a stretch. Really? Yes, it's a love motel. Probably, yes. She's literally acting like a call girl. And because she's acting like a first-time customer. This is funny. This is hilarious. And it's true. These kind of motels do have karaoke. Some of them, anyways. The more high-class ones. I highly doubt there'd be any in a 4,500 yen per night room, though. Look, we all know nothing's gonna happen, so the hell of it. Ah, to fight with Bill. Is he literally going to tell her right now? Really? Right now? Oh. Ah. Eat her as in literally eat her, or figuratively? Like, okay, it's figuratively, right? Damn, they're really showing a lot. Really? What? That has to be the most interesting way out of all the different, romance works I've seen to be blocked in that kind of way. Oh my god. Oh my god, this is too hilarious. But anyways, I'll see you guys after the ending. Well, guys, this was another great episode. I loved it. I loved it. With that being said, however, I still can't quite get over the fact that, at the end there, like, Legoshi was, like, okay, I've seen lots of rom-coms, alright, and I've seen lots of harem works as well, and this is literally the first time I've ever seen someone cock-blocked because of a freaking compatibility issue, if you will, because that's what it was, right? So because it was a wolf and a little dwarf rabbit, and so due to, in this case, it was due to natural instinct or whatnot, so she instinctively wanted to reject Legoshi. So let's just boil it down into a compatibility problem, right? So I guess you have to have this kind of unique setting in order for there to be this kind of reaction, right? And I don't know, it's definitely a first for me as well to see something like this. I've never seen anything quite like it. With that being said, though, one thing that I do want to mention in regards to this episode is I want to give full props to the display of emotions that they are presenting, especially in the entire scene leading up from when they first were sitting down eating yakisoba and all the way till the very end there. The whole process of finding a love motel, going in, hesitating, are they actually going to have sex or not, hesitating there, and etc., right? It felt very, very real. I felt like I was literally watching a coming of age movie, like a real person, live. I don't want to say live action, just an actual movie, right? And really, I feel like, this series really has a lot of good things going for it, right? It has great topics, it has a unique setting, there's moral implications in it, and then there's parallels to real-world issues here. But, however, to me, one of the strongest points of this anime, or of this manga, this series in general, is the dialogue, right? The dialogue is seriously on point here. There's never any time when I feel cringy hearing them talk in this kind of manner. It feels very real, very authentic. It feels like something that, you know, you would hear in normal day life as well, right? And also, when not only the dialogue here, but when they're talking, you know, the subtle actions that they have, the little movements of the characters, the facial expressions, you can feel the tentativeness, the nervousness, you know, you feel it all, right? And that, I feel like, is something that I really want to give props to for this anime. This anime, right? The manga is one thing, but the anime also managed to capture this feeling perfectly. So, good on them, right? And, you know, this goes for the entire sequence at the very end there. Like, I don't want to comment too much on the actual story there, because that is pretty straightforward, right? It was, I mean, I guess I'm kind of surprised, but not really surprised that Haru knew of Legoshi. You know, I feel like, you know, it's kind of hard to not sense that it was Legoshi, especially since they were that close. You can literally smell him. You can have that same kind of feeling, etc., etc. So, you know, I was wondering this whole time whether or not she was actually hiding it, right? Right from when they first met again during the garden scene. Right, so here, I guess in the end she was only suspecting it, but not quite sure, but that is enough, right? But anyways, I love that entire sequence of events there, which, you know, is a good thing, right? Because the action is absolutely the weak point for this series, and, well, like, let's talk about the beginning, right? The end of the infiltration scene, the sort of raid on the Shishigumi group. You know, literally winning against a grown lion in a one-on-one fist fight, right? You guys saw my incredulous reaction there, right? I mean, like I already mentioned at the beginning, you know, it's one thing in a manga for them to go in guns blazing, taking them by surprise and whatnot. Okay, I can kind of believe that. In the last episode, the way that they did it, it's already really pretty high on the unbelievable scale for me. But at least they were still using weapons. They were still trying to, I don't know, dodge here, dodge there, and whatnot. And Gohan was doing most of the fighting, right? So, all right, fine. There's a little bit of probability here, but you know, here with Legoshi, just literally, you know, in a straight up heads on fist fight with the head of the mafia, the boss. Like, come on, man. Like I mentioned during that scene there, the moment the boss had Legoshi's arm in his jaws, that would have been GG. That's game over. His hand would have been bitten off right there. Now, granted, the actual force that they exhibit might be lessened a little bit due to the fact that they are anthropomorphic creatures, versions of themselves. So maybe they don't literally have the same sort of strength and force as their real life counterparts, right? But still. Again, this is the group that's got the whole city cowering in fear, just by the mention of their name, right? And even the freaking mayor of the city, is willing to swallow his dignity and pride in order to not get on the bad side of this group. And yet again, a panda and a student managed to take down this entire group, and oh man, like, that's... there's like a million different ways that they could have done this better, but it is what it is, right? Now, I don't want to harp on this too much because I feel like I've said all that needs to be said already here. Now, one very interesting thing that came out of the end of that is Louis, right? Now, I did originally think he was going to come, right? I did mention this before they even did the raid, because I didn't really feel that they were going to straight up, you know, just literally walk in through the front door, right? But I definitely didn't envision Louis coming in this kind of manner. And, you know, straight up killing the boss in cold blood, like, wow, man. wow. I did not see that coming at all. Now, mentally, I feel like he was pretty cracked at the very end there, like, and that's probably one of the reasons why he decided to do as he did. Like, I highly doubt he actually killed anyone before. Well, actually, it's hard to say, right? Since he literally just did this and didn't hesitate at all, and it's hard to, but I'd say there's a pretty good chance that this is still the first time he's actually killed anyone. Now, I feel like, with the scene at the very end there, he just wants to do this and then just die, right? He's broken. He feel like his dignity, his meaning, his way of life has been lost. So he's sort of like, come and eat me, right? Now, obviously, we know he's going to survive because he's still one of the main characters. And I'm guessing it's probably going to be because Gohan is there as well, and he's probably going to save Louis before he's actually eaten by them. And yeah, I highly, if even Louis fights his way out, like, come on. I sincerely hope that that is not the way that they're going to do this. And even if it was, then maybe, I mean, they have guns, right? But so does the other side. But I don't know. To me, the most logical explanation would still be Gohan coming in and saving him, and then Louis is probably not going to tell Legoshi and Haru that he actually went there, right? And maybe that's going to cause some sort of rift between them as well. But anyways, the fight, the actual information, the raid, I didn't really like that much, in spite of its epicness. I did like the end scene where Louis showed up and straight up killed the boss member, but really the highlight of this episode is the entire aftermath of this, and seeing Legoshi's interaction with Haru there. So yeah, that's pretty much for this episode. Oh, I guess, I have a habit of, putting some trivia information in if there's any relevant information to give. I like to talk a little bit about the love motels, right? Because that is something that I feel, the Western world doesn't really have, right? I'm not that familiar with Europe. Perhaps Europe also has this kind of stuff as well, but when I was in the States, I definitely didn't, they're cheap hotels, but there's not these kind of love motels that are used predominantly to have sexual relations, right? So a few things, it's actually quite prominent in Asia, not just in Japan. Lots of Asian countries have this kind of thing where, it's quite a special thing, right? It's really, everybody knows that these places are used to have sex, and they also have some unique rates as well. They have some unique ways of actually getting a room. So you can stay overnight, and that is one kind of rate. But predominantly, most people use them in what they call a sort of resting. They want a room for resting, right? And typically that would be for about 3 hours, so you can just, finish your business, have a rest, finish your business and whatnot, and maybe have a little nap or whatnot, and then leave, right? And typically, I highly doubt that you could get an overnight room for 4,500 yen, right? That is perhaps, and especially in that kind of quality. Like, obviously, I actually haven't been to love motels in Japan, but considering that Japan is a pretty high price of living place, it's only going to be even more expensive, right? And even here in my country, 4,500 yen is not enough to get a overnight stay at a room of that caliber, because that was actually quite a nice room there. Not like high quality, but decent quality, right? And 4,500 yen most probably would only get you some kind of rundown room. What else? So, and it's the interior of it is definitely something that fits how a love motel is supposed to look like. I mean, obviously you got the bed, you have a shower, the mirrors are for I guess to add to the romantic feeling, if you will, and then you got a TV, right? And Haru mentioned the karaoke thing here, and that is probably also something that most Westerners would not know, or people who don't go there do not know. So yeah, they do have karaoke there, and you can, have some entertainment before or after you do your deeds. And that's actually also the reason why, these kinds of hotels aren't just used for that kind of business, right? It's also a pretty popular place to host parties as well, because it has karaoke, and some of the more high level ones even have like pools or spas or whatnot, and so it's a nice place to have parties, right? And the sound insulation is, as you might expect, pretty good, even better than hotels, and so you can like play loud music, and lots of people probably also do some kind of substances there, and well, it's just a place to party, right? But anyways, it's definitely a pretty unique thing to Asian countries, and not really something you can see in the West. Like, I know, I mean, in the States, for example, we have these cheap hotels like Motel 8, Super 6, that kind of stuff, but it's not really quite the same kind of situation, right? These are literally made for having these kinds of activities, if you will. Some of them even have vending machines within the room that sell various toys and stuff. But yeah, anyways. So that is your piece of trivia for this. Hopefully you guys find that interesting. Not really sure what's gonna happen next episode. Like, is Legoshi actually going to have sex with Haru? I really don't know, actually, right? If this was any other kind of shonen, well, actually, this is a shonen, right? So it's hard to say. But if this was more of a shoujo manga, right, I could totally see them actually having sex, because that's actually a large part of shoujo manga. And then, the complications that arise going forward, in terms of the relations, that's definitely something that a lot of shoujo manga likes to use as topic, right? So yeah, and of course they also have this entire situation they have to explain to their classmates and whatnot, yada yada yada. Fun times, fun times. So, anyways, that's my, hold on. Actually, how long is, sorry, let me look this up real quick. I literally forgot, how long is this going to be? Huh. Okay, never mind. I can't find it. So I don't know whether or not this is the penultimate episodes, or we're gonna have even more episodes going forward, right? So I guess we'll know in the next one. Anyways, hope you guys enjoyed this. See you guys next week. Bye bye.